Early in the morning.
What's going on, people? It's your boy Cam, Topical Juice, and I'm back with my second video of the day, and the second video talking about this Molly-Mae situation, right? Now, as you can see from the title, the title's going to be something like Molly-Mae was right about one thing, or Molly-Mae was right about something, right? Aside from the ignorance, and aside from the tone-deaf, naive, low IQ comments, which I stand by the way, I also want to look at the other things she mentioned. Aside from all that, she did make a point that kind of touches on, you know, positivity, positive thinking, and not letting our situation or not letting our environment define us, yeah? What's interesting about this story in general is that it's been interpreted in multiple ways. Now, most people are in alignment with me in it, as in most people think the same as how I think, or I think the same as how everyone else thinks, you know, whatever way you want to view it. But there's a few pockets of people out there, Molly-Mae fans and a couple other people, who have interpreted what she said to be just positive and, you know, almost like promoting this success story about, you know, if you want it enough, you can get it, and just speaking positivity in the world and just positive energy and type thing. And you know what? They're not wrong for that. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if the people that do agree with her are people that also probably come from similar situation as she does, but that's not all true. You know, I'm sure there's some people who are flat out broke before and have made something about themselves, and they've interpreted what she said as a positive message. You know what I'm saying? So I want to explore that as well, because listen, your boy Cam, your boy Cam is straight down the middle always. I've always been fair, I've always been balanced, always. And I take people on a case-by-case basis, right? I've always shown Molly-Mae respect, and when she does a dickhead thing like she's done recently, I will show her disrespect, yeah? But that doesn't mean that I hate Molly-Mae. That doesn't mean I'm cancelling Molly-Mae. I don't care, innit? Ultimately, I don't actually care. You know, it's something to talk about. I have a YouTube channel. This is what I do. I have to talk about things, so I'm going to talk about it. Yeah, some people in my comment section, yeah, Molly-Mae should be concerned about people who misinterpret her words just for viewing pleasure, this, that, and the other. Bro, I don't give a fuck. Yeah, of course I'm trying to get views. What do you think? How do you think I'm going to grow, you dickhead? Some people are so stupid. What do you try and do? What do you do at work? If you've got to make sales at work and you need to cold call people, what are you going to do? You're going to cold call people, aren't you? Because that's how you do your job. You're not going to sit there and let the sales slip through your fingertips, are you? See, people are so low IQ. You can't come for me when your IQ is this low. You know what I'm saying? Not good. Anyway, let's get into this video, man. Like the video for me, hit the bell to be notified for me, hit your subscribe button for me, and if you want to support your boy's merchandise, it's in the description below. Now, let me give Molly-Mae credit, all right? I watched a bit more of the podcast, and some people in my comment section were saying, you know, the video's taken out of context. It's taken out of context. Like, she admits that she's privileged. Listen, that clip was not taken out of context. It wasn't. Just because she's acknowledged the fact that she comes from a privileged household, the problem is the disregarding of the importance of that and the opportunities that come with her background. Do you understand? However, aside from that, the message can be viewed in a positive light. Now, I'm not going to criticize the girl for being positive. I think it's a great message, to push to young people or to anyone that your environment or your current situation doesn't define you, okay? There are people who are poor right now, who don't know where their next meal is going to be, and that message will be promising to them. You know, it gives people hope, you understand? It gives people something to believe in. If we just looked at our situation for what it is and didn't think we could get any better, then we might end up depressed or suicidal or whatever. From that point of view, I don't disagree with her. I agree with her. You know, I think it's great that you can push forward that message. But what people aren't quite understanding is that you can't push that message and not talk about the other side of things. Do you understand? Like, you have to look at these things in a real holistic point of view. You have to look at it not narrow-minded, not short-sighted. You have to look at it broad, because it's not that easy to just want it. It's not that easy to just say, okay, we've got 24 hours in a day. Because what happens then when you have a single mother who works 2 jobs, 12, 13, 14 hours a day to support her 2 or 3 kids? Then what? You know, she's working harder than Molly-Mae's ever worked in her life. But what's she got to show for it? Do you understand? So this is why you have to be somewhat smart to understand this. Like, only dumb people don't understand this. Yeah, it's great that she gives a positive message, and she's right for that. You know, giving people hope about certain things. But that message, it's very tone deaf is the word, isn't it? It really is tone deaf. She should have directed that message to people in her own situation. Does that make sense? If she's talking about people from her own background, then it makes a bit more sense. Then her opinion kind of has some value, it has some weight. But unfortunately, a lot of the people she's talking to don't come from the background she comes from. And that's why it's tone deaf. Because It's easy for her to say that. Do you understand? It's easy. So if she's talking to a bunch of influencers or people that are from a middle class background and they've got all these opportunities, then fantastic. Your words aren't offensive. They're not tone deaf because you're talking to people who will have equal opportunities to you. But what about the people who don't have access to phones and laptops and education and this? Their 24 hours in their day looks very different to your 24 hours. Do you understand? The expectations are very different. So listen, I will give Molly-Mae credit. If you want to put your mind to something, you can achieve it. And that's to anyone. That's to anyone. Bottom of the food chain, all the way to the top. If you put your mind to it, you can achieve it. But it doesn't mean you will achieve it. And it doesn't mean that you've got the right tools in your disposal to achieve it. Do you understand? Now, something that I didn't mention in my last video, is the podcaster. Now, I've forgotten my man's name, the podcast guy, but he's actually come out and defended her. Now, there's nothing wrong with defending someone that you agree with or whatever, that's fine. But I never actually picked up on the fact that in the video that I played at the start of my last video, he actually says, I couldn't agree more. So you goofy, I'm now onto you now. What do you mean you couldn't agree more? Please elaborate. What do you mean by that? What do you actually mean by that? Because I don't get it. Like we've all explained what it means, all right? I'm literally articulating it right now. But he's actually come out, right? And he's categorically said it's because she's a woman that she's receiving backlash. Are you dizzy, bro? What are you smoking on, bro? You lot know me. How much do I ride for women? Yeah, so much so you got pussy old boys calling me a simp, which is obviously impossible. Ladies, no girls ever called me a simp because I don't do simpy things. I just respect and ride for women, yeah, when it comes to them getting raped and things like that. But that makes me a simp, dickhead. Anyway, so you lot know how much I ride for women. That point about her being a woman and that's why she's getting backlash. Weak. That is pathetic. That's a pathetic angle to take, to be honest. Real goofy. What, so you're saying if a man came out and said that, it wouldn't have got backlash? Are you dumb? Man, woman, trans, dog, whatever you want, monkey. If anyone came out and said that, yeah, the response will still be the same. Because it's easy for you, if you're rich or you got a silver diamond encrusted spoon out your ass when you were born, yeah, it's easy for you to think, yeah, you know what, opportunities are great. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't get these opportunities. It's also mad. I don't understand how people don't get this. It's literally like, empathy really isn't hard. I'm not a woman, but I empathize with women. My brother Alf is white and ginger, but he empathizes with the black experience. Yeah? Is it really hard to find empathy? It's so easy to empathize. So why is it so hard for the rich and the wealthy to empathize with people who don't have money? And it's because they've always had money. So they don't actually know what it's like to be broke. It's just their life experience must be so different. To have money all the time, you lot are really living, you know. You lot are really, really living. Sometimes come down to our level. We have to work 9 to 5s and 9 to 6s, and then we have to do more. Like, man, I'm juggling 2 jobs. Now listen, Molly-Mae is entitled to her opinion and whatever, and I'm all for the positive message. But what she didn't understand here is that she actually acknowledged that she got backlash for what she said before. But in that time, from the last time she got backlash to now, she still hasn't learned her lesson. She actually doubled down on her opinion. Now, what the problem with what Molly-Mae said is she's actually flat out disregarding the financial background that people come from. Because she openly said, this is where she shot herself in the foot, to be honest. She openly said, I understand that we all have different backgrounds, but we all kind of do have 24 hours in a day. Technically, I'm not wrong. So she actually disregarded the point that she kind of made, if that makes sense. Because that point about having different financial backgrounds is the big point. That is the main reason. You can't just disregard that. You can't just say, oh yeah, I understand we've all got big, like, all points, but you know, if you want it enough, no. You're meant to say, I understand that we all have different financial situations, and I understand that there's certain people who aren't as privileged as I am, and there are people who are poor, but you know what? Don't let your current financial situation define you. Try your hardest to remain positive. Try your hardest to chase your dreams. That wouldn't have got no backlash. That would have got a positive message because she understands and empathizes that not everyone has her privilege. But you've ended it on a positive message about, you know, being motivational and all that stuff. But she didn't. She flat out disregarded the main point of the whole thing, and that's the problem here. Listen, it is what it is, man. As I said, even though I've kind of spoken both points, I will give Molly-Mae credit, yeah? A lot of people have interpreted her message to be a positive one in terms of the motivation and things like that. Now, while I agree with that, it's important to understand why it isn't positive for some, yeah? While it offends others, because you've got people out there who are sitting here probably watching that interview thinking, what? I've had this trauma, I've had this, I'm a single parent, my dad committed suicide, my mum's an alcoholic, I'm working 12-hour days, so why am I not rich? You know what I'm saying? Like, I want it, so why am I not rich? That's offensive to some. You get it? Now let me just end on one more thing. It was a comment that one of my loyal subscribers left on my last video. I'm gonna read it for you. I was homeless at 16 due to extreme abuse, so I ran away from home. I spent 10 years living in destitution, going from hostel to hostel, going through the demoralizing experience of having to go to a food bank. I was too poor to even have a job. I couldn't afford public transport. I would walk 3 miles to and from work, working 12-hour shifts. I remember going weeks without hot water and electricity. You just get on with it, no one to help you. I have only recently just got myself out of living in complete poverty. It took me 10 years to get above the poverty line. I worked my arse off to still only live paycheck to paycheck. It's always the same privileged people who come out with BS like this. Now, CJ, you're one of my loyal subscribers. Big up yourself. I already replied to your comment, but that is a prime example of what man's talking about, bro. How can you tell my man like CJ here that, oh, if you want it, you can achieve it? Yeah, we've all got the same 24 hours. Yeah. Have we? Have we? Yeah. In fact, let me leave you with one more, because this right here is amazing. So there is a video I saw a few years back where a teacher lines up 20 to 30 young adults on a line and then walks 100 yards away. He then lists various life situations or settings, saying to the young adults, take 5 steps forward if this applies to you. For example, both of my parents are together. My family owns their home. I've never had to go to bed hungry. I have my own phone, tablet with internet access. At the end, there are some people 20 feet away from the finish line, but some are barely off the start line. We all have to run the same race, but we aren't starting at the same point. Comments like hers show she'd happily keep people back at the start as long as she gets to start ahead of them. Now, I don't agree with the last point he made about our comments like her show she'd happily leave people at the start line. I don't know about that. I don't necessarily think she'd want to leave people at the start or nothing like that. But that point he made is so valid. That social experiment is so true. Does that not prove it? Yeah? So we don't all have the same 24 hours because, as you say, some people have a tablet with internet access. Look at the advantages you have that. Yeah? You don't go to bed hungry. So, you know what I'm saying? So you go to sleep with a full belly. So you sleep nice and well, wake up energized. Do we understand here the nuances of life? How important it is not to look so just to look at it so tunnel visioned. Yeah, life is holistic. You have to understand how things intertwine. You get it's easy. Okay, yeah, it's easy to say you got 24 hours in a day, blah blah blah. But no. But everyone's situation is different. Everyone's starting point is different. So anyway, I'll give her the credit, yeah, for the motivational speech. But ultimately, I still stand by what I said. At the end of the day, Molly, if you want to come on a podcast, yeah, come on mine. Yeah, we don't have to be friends. But I'll actually disagree with you if I disagree with you. Not, you know what, I completely agree with every word you said. No, I'll actually challenge you back and we'd get into a real discussion. So if you're brave enough, Topical Juice is calling you. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Peace.